This episode is brought to you by the RVA Podcast Network. Find more information at rvapodcast.org.
It's a new year, so you know what that means. That means a new season. It's season 4. Intro a little revamped. Microphone a little revamped. Branding a little revamped. We are now officially the Past BT. So welcome all Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and all podcast platforms. Here you're going to get a flavor of sports, music, tech, video games. Once in a while, we'll get an Ass of the Week and a new part that's going to be coming in. It's not mentioned on the season 3, but we do what's called Pass the Message. So definitely you want to tune in and get some good content on the Pass with your host, BT. So I'd normally be recording these in the library or out and about, but as many of you aren't aware, we are going through this infamous quarantine or isolation type of process, and there's a lot of self-isolation, and also it's called improvising and making what you got work. So as you can tell, the recording is being done a la crib part 2. As you can see by the title, it is called the Quarantine Podcast. This is kind of going to be the new trend. This may get me to creating a little bit more and possibly doing these more than once every 2 weeks. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. Because I know when I did the last one, it was a show, but it was a quick rush show. And that's not what I'm here to give, but that's not my objective in recording these shows. As if you may or may not have been aware, I am no longer on Spreaker. I did say that or mention that in the last podcast, but I want to be sure I give the listeners proper context, since we kind of did like a quick overview of what was going on, but didn't really get into much of what was going on. So I wanted to get all of that on the table first and foremost before we go into any of our topics this week. There are quite a few things that have and are currently happening, so I want to still get that information out there. This is not going to be the coronavirus has canceled X number of events. Most of you have heard that and are aware of that already, so there's no need in me coming along and being redundant with the obvious. So I'm going to be using this podcast to definitely be more stuff heavy if possible, because I have been very strong in my thoughts about sports, and that's great, but there's a lot of stuff that is going on. So I'm going to chop it up and get into some of that, and we're going to make this show work. So as the title states, this is episode 279. We did not do an angel number for 278. No one to really blame for that other than me, since I'm the one recording. So we'll go ahead and break down episode 279, or the number 279, as far as for the angel number. Angel number 279 is a sign of closure. You just ended a relationship that existed for a long time. It is hurting you because you're not sure of what really happened. You're feeling betrayed and confused because you believe you gave it your all. Angel number 279 is a symbol for you to let it go and have no regrets. Do not blame yourself for anything, because in your heart you believe you gave it your all. Angel number 279 is a sign that it is now time to end things that have not worked out. With whatever you feel you need to do to receive this closure, the angel numbers advise you to do it, and then be happy. Conclusion is finally associated with angel number 279. This is a sign from your guardian angels that you need to conclude all pending issues in your life so you may move on to the next chapter of your life. Determination relates that with angel number 279. Determination relates with angel number 279. Begin to encourage yourself at all times. You may be experiencing a new chapter in your life. And because of the past, you may be afraid that things may not work out positively. You may relate to a different element from what your sun sign or zodiac sign element is. Take this in-depth oh, that's a quiz. I always like how I get thrown with the promos. Angel number 279, symbolism encourages you to focus on building yourself. Be strong-minded at all times without any holding back. The angels advise you to be fully aware that setbacks may come, but this is part of the journey of life. It is important to serve your soul with pure thoughts. Angel number 279 is a sign from the angels for you to begin surrounding yourself with happiness and joy. Eliminate the people in your life who cause sadness and disagreements. Angel number 2 asks you to make new friends who support you and lean on your family for strength. Angel number 7 says that the soul needs to be at constant peace so as to give the mind stability to make reasonable decisions. Angel number 9 is a sign from the angels for you to feed your soul with good things, positive energies, and all shall be well moving forward. Angel number 279 shows that you may be a signing of a deal, buying a new car, purchasing some new land. The angels are advising you to do this now so as to not miss out on the good benefits and opportunities that come with this conclusion. Run with that, do what it is you will. And I know personally, growth has been my personal theme for the year 2020. So it's a coincidence of reading a lot of this and looking at my latest journey and process and transition and things of that sort. So, hopefully you're learning to do what's in your best interest for your future, for your brand, for your plans, for your future. I know it's been a redundant statement, but having this occur like it has should not have us as much on pause as it should have us more on play and not fast forwarding. This is, in my personal observation, this is that moment where you're being put in a position to be more present than you were before. And a friend of mine, we've had this conversation God knows how many times, and it's coming full circle and realizing how important it is to be present, because we're so go, run, and we don't take time to just stop and enjoy the small or the simple things of life. So that's kind of what that entails, or what I've gathered, among other things, from this angel number. So I'll go ahead and tell this now because I'm working on some stuff in the background. The new program that I'm using to record and upload podcasts, it doesn't allow me as much character-based posting. So I may be, and all of my promos or all the information that I usually show or have in the links, I value everyone's stuff and all that you all are doing. But right now I need to make space for the actual content that I'm sharing on the show. And that's me making that executive decision, as well as knowing that if there are those who I need to promo for those intended purposes, then I will. But a lot of the links, I can't personally say whether anybody has or hasn't gone to them. And also I'm doing it, as anyone else will call it, just for free promo. So I don't want to push those things if I don't have to, because I also need to make space for actual links that I'm sharing for others to read and check out, since a lot of stuff is being shared. So now that we got all of that out of the way, let's get into our sports. This is the first time I'm doing this. This may or may not be the last. It will only be on the basis of if things get updated or if stuff gets shared, something new comes into play, we'll add it in as according or as necessary. But this is a bit of the updated breakdown of what activities have been canceled due to the coronavirus from the sports aspect. We already were aware that the NBA season was suspended. NCAA, they canceled the remainder of the season as far as for spring and winter championship events, which obviously that included men's and women's basketball. So March Madness came and went. We didn't see anybody become a winner in that. So that was kind of a frustrating ordeal, because that's usually like the guys bonded time type of thing. And we're kind of just like, all right, well, what do we watch? I will say on a side note to kind of spin away from stuff, sports, but make it stuff, but still be sports related. NBA 2K did get a little creative by doing simulated games on NBA's Twitch network or Twitch platform. And they're also having actual NBA players play in different tournaments. And it was a coincidence because Kevin Durant was the number one ranked player in the 2K tournament, and he was upset by Derrick Jones Jr., which a lot of you may or may not know. He actually won the slam dunk contest earlier this year, and I did talk about that on a previous episode. MLB has canceled the remainder of spring training. They're not stating when opening day will happen because opening day would have been on Wednesday, on April Fool's Day. And that's kind of where we are right now with your main hits. Because, as of right now, the NFL plans to start at the beginning of the season, but that's obviously in April. That could change by July or August because you have to also factor in still getting preseason games put in. The draft as of right now is going to be done virtually. They do not have plans of having anyone physically come to the draft. There are still NBA players, there's still non-collegiate athletes who are looking to get into the NBA, still going through the process of trying to get into the NBA. Waiting to see how that's going to go because they're still going to have to do the NBA combine. Unless you're just going to look at a kid based on what they present from them playing for, their said team or said country, there's really not much that we have to go, or there's not much that the scouts are going to have to go off of to really see if a player is going to be worth giving a chance or giving an opportunity. So obviously I'm not in that position to figure out how that's going to work. We'll let the league figure that all out. UEFA, the Champions League, as of right now, has been they went ahead and suspended those matchups for the Champions League, Europa League, and Euro 2020. We did talk about this, I believe, on the last episode or a few episodes back. Premier League has been canceled. As far as we're aware, La Liga has been suspended indefinitely. La Liga, for those of you who may or may not be aware, consists of your Barcelonas, your Real Madrids, those teams. They have not been playing. PSG is out of it. All of the other major leagues in Europe have been suspended as well. Serie A, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1 or Ligue 1. And that's kind of the main hit of it. The WNBA, we're going to talk about that in a moment. Tennis, Wimbledon has been canceled for the first time since World War II based on this pandemic. Horse racing, they have moved the Kentucky Derby from May the 2nd to September the 5th. Horse racing also continues on some tracks internationally, but it's not, I'm going to assume from likelihood, there won't be many fans in the stands for those events. The Tokyo Olympics have been postponed until next year. They're stating that the opening ceremony will take place on July the 23rd, and then they're going to have everything starting on July 24th. As we already were kind of figuring to happen, the XFL did get canceled for the remainder of the season. Some players who were in the XFL have been given opportunities to play in the NFL. So they're kind of going to be waiting on seeing how that all goes on. A lot of the major esports events have been postponed and canceled. One major example is that all Overwatch League events for March and April have been canceled and have been moved to online play. Just as a sidebar, Level Up Gaming and Next Level, those two events that usually come on Wednesdays, they're no longer physically at the venue that they have them at. They've been just doing online matchups in various games such as Street Fighter, Blade. I'm sitting here, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Fighters, all your main games. Smash at Xanadu, that has been done online. They've gotten creative with theirs, which I will give VG Bootcamp their credit. What they have been doing is they will have the chairs sitting as if they're commentators in both chairs, and then they will pan to the actual chairs of where the competitors would be playing and make it look as though they're battling against each other, but they're playing online, obviously. So Shout outs to VG Bootcamp for that. Let's see. WWE did announce last week that Rob Gronkowski will be hosting a 2-night WrestleMania event on today, April the 4th, and tomorrow. And auto racing for the Indianapolis 500 on May 24th. That has been postponed until August and won't run as part of Memorial Day for the first time since 1945. And mostly, like I said, I mean, it's been kind of a running theme, but most of the events have kind of just been canceled. So everything's kind of on a wait and see process on seeing what's going to happen from this. I'm hoping, and I'm going to see how I can pull this off, but I would like to get people on to give more input or give a better perspective about what's happening, because those who aren't in the healthcare field may or may not be aware of it. Those who are, we are seeing it first and forehand. I'm not really going to say where, but it's being seen first and up front. So the eye is a little different about it from what the media gives, along with the fact of reporting and storyline, because everything can't be published. And I've talked about that numerous times on show and off show with friends or with colleagues. So that's what we have as of right now for all of the cancellations, postponements, delayed, pushback dates, things of that nature. We have gotten our 9 members of the 2020 NBA Hall of Fame class. Someone else posted this, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and name the individuals who will be inducted. It's going to be Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Eddie Sutton, who was a 4-time National Coach of the Year, Rudy Tomjanovich, who coached the Houston Rockets to their 2 NBA championships, which is the last time they've actually won a championship. Tamika Catchings, who most recently retired from the WNBA. She was a 10-time WNBA All-Star and a 4-time Olympic gold medalist. 3-time NCAA champ and coach of Baylor, Kim Mulkey. 5-time Division II National Coach of the Year, Barbara Stevens. And longtime FIBA executive, Patrick Baumann. And finally, because I don't want to leave him off the list, Kobe Bryant was also inducted into the Hall as an 18-time NBA All-Star and 5-time NBA champion. There was this conversation that came up, and I'm going to get this off of the table now, because a lot of people say this because people don't know what to say, but we need to be clear about reality. He was, as we all are aware, back in January, he was involved in that horrendous helicopter crash with all of the other victims, as well as his daughter. And, the NBA made the best gesture of saying it's only fitting that he should go in the Hall of Fame. Now, the first factor is, well, you have to have been in the league so many years before being eligible to get in the Hall. But let's face it, even if it was next year, the year after, whenever he was eligible to go into the Hall, he was going to make it in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. You say whatever you want. You give whatever input or opinion you have about your personal feels towards what he has or hasn't done on or off the court. He earned his spot. So he was going to make a spot into the Hall regardless. The NBA made a better decision in choosing to say, we're putting him in now, take it or leave it. And I mean, you don't really have a way of overriding what the league has chosen. They did do an interview with Vanessa Bryant and I believe their oldest daughter. They were talking with her about, how joyed she is that he is making it to the Hall. It's bad that he's not here to enjoy it. I'm going to be 100% transparent. You can tell she wanted to break down and even doing that interview. And it's tough because even me sitting here doing this podcast now, talking about it is tough. But he definitely earned his credit. I mean, what can't you say about him as far as a basketball player? We just back on Tuesday, March 31st, was the 1-year passing of Nipsey Hussle. And I'm going to talk about this. I know it's not yet and stuff, but we're getting everything out there because I don't want to leave anything off the table. It has been a year. I believe the case is still going on with Eric Holder, if I'm remembering correctly. It didn't get a lot of attention or a lot of praise, or not praise, but a lot of media talk recently, but it has been talked about. And, definitely send prayers to his family and those who are closest to him. I did mention this earlier. The WNBA is likely going to be, as of right now, their statement or status is that the season is being pushed back due to this coronavirus pandemic. The actual WNBA draft is expected to be held on April the 17th, which is 2 weeks away from yesterday. And it's kind of, as of right now, Sabrina Ionescu is the league's favorite to likely be the number one pick. She did play for the Oregon Ducks. The few highlights that I did see of her, she can play. I don't want to use the term a walking bucket, but she definitely is going to bring a good look to the WNBA as a whole. The slated date for the season to start was going to be on May the 15th. They don't have an idea for when the season is going to start because right now they're trying to, as everyone else is doing and as I'm doing now, following social distancing because that is still a new thing for people. It is very uncomfortable and it is very weird because we're so used to being close to folks. We're used to hug. Some of us are huggers. Some of us are, touchy feely, all those type of things. And a lot of that's going out the window temporarily. But for the sake of getting this under control, they're really trying to enforce this and getting people to understand the importance of it. And that's kind of the main basis of what's what with the WNBA. They do give a little bit of information about the Oregon Ducks. I don't know why I was already said Yukon Ducks. That is not a team. But yeah, with the Oregon Ducks and everything going on with them. So that is everything we have in the sports world that I can think of. It's not that sports have been ignored. It's everything as of right now is just in, hey, let's see what we can do to at least have something be on TV for fans. What most of the main stations have been doing is let's give you that nostalgic feel. Let's take you back to when this team played this team in a national championship game. Like they went to the Arizona-Kentucky championship game, which I believe Kentucky won that year. But I almost want to say that was like when I think Mike Bibby was in the NBA, not the NBA, but Mike Bibby was in college. And I mean, we're just, for fans are just making what they got work. What is interesting in this is because now that TV watching has lowered for sports, a lot of guys are resorting to the online action of playing 2K, FIFA, Madden, you name it. Their Gears of War, Call of Duty, Halo. Like everyone's getting back into their gaming fixes, and it's almost like online gaming is being given a different look in hindsight. So now we're gonna go to stuff, and like I said, stuff is gonna be some stuff we've already, like this article was an article that I found a while back, and I was going to break it down on my last show. Didn't really get an opportunity to, so now since we're here, we'll go ahead and get right into it. But the adjustment is there now where people have to adapt in what's considered an online only world, where normally when you would play games, you'd go to a physical facility, you'd have all the systems set up, you'd run a tournament, and the better team wins, all the trash talking, all of that sort. But now with us being where we are, they're having to go a bit of a different route. And this is a change, and it's a big change. Almost every single major professional sports league across the globe is on indefinite hiatus due to the ongoing novel coronavirus pandemic. There's no NBA, no Champions League, no Olympic Games. But an unlikely option has started to fill that void for viewers: competitive video games. For years, esports leagues have tried to emulate traditional sports to reach a larger and more mainstream audience, but with millions forced to stay at home, these leagues have to adapt in a way that emphasizes their digital first nature. This is where our roots are. This was stated by Dominique Gillineo, who is the GM of Call of Duty, who is the GM of the Call of Duty's team, Toronto Ultra. Over the past few weeks, almost every major esports league in the world, including the Call of Duty League, Overwatch League, ESL Pro League, Flashpoint, and multiple League of Legends competitions, has shifted to an online format. Typically, these games are played offline in a studio or arena environment. Players take the stage, fans go wild, and casters keep up the energy with infectious commentary. Recreating that when everyone from the players to the event's producers is working from home creates its own unique set of challenges. In late February, IEM Katowice 2020, one of the world's premier Counter-Strike competitions, took place in an empty 11,000-seat stadium after the Polish government declared a ban on mass gatherings not long before the event was set to kick off. It was around this time that Craig Levine, Global Chief Strategy Officer of the CSGO ESL Pro League, realized they were going to need to make some changes. The league originally planned to play out its regular season at a studio in Malta, with the final slated for an event in Denver. The team went through a few options, including playing in a studio with no fans, but as the situation escalated, they settled on playing the entirety of the competition online. Then they get more information related to this adjustment, which I'm not going to read this word for word, but I will say that this is a change. And it's a change that people aren't used to, but are getting used to. And we're going to have to be used to it for a while, because until further notice, businesses still got to make their money as best as they can, but still have gaming events occur based on, where we are and all that's occurred. So I know for me, with this experience, gaming has become something that I think I slept on. And now I look at it as, even down to just my retro console, I'm like, man, if I could hop on a good game and just play some Mario and just chill, best feeling in the world. But I also still have my Xbox, so I can, get on FIFA once in a while. Or if I want to go nostalgic, get into my throwback Call of Duty. But you're being forced to be creative in what creative environment you have. And for some people it works, some people it doesn't. And you just kind of got to roll with the punches. So we're going to be continuing to evolve through this for a couple of months. The big events that I'm realizing is going to be an impact on are when CEO occurs for the fighting community, SmashCon, Evo, Combo Breaker. Like, those events is when it's really going to hit, because those are the events that you have like the top of the top, the best of the best. Even Capcom as a whole, it's going to impact them. And I mean, they've already mentioned most of the big wigs, or the big dogs, like Call of Duty, League of Legends. It wasn't on there, but Rocket League jumped up out of nowhere and really has hit the scene in a way that I think people didn't expect it to from when it first came out. Because all you're thinking is, oh, it's just people, acting as a car and trying to drive to score goals. But it's a very competitive event, especially if you have a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4 that's like real intense. So we're going to be working through this, and this is going to take time. And I think this is going to show people how patient they have to be with working through their process. Adjusting to sticking with process. And this was something that I didn't realize was going to become a thing, but it was an interesting moment. There's a DJ who was part of with KRS-One, and I can't think of the other individual, but they were a classic group back in the day. D-Nice is currently in California, and with everything going on with this, everyone being on quarantine, not being to go as much except for essential workers, he thought, hey, let me go ahead and break out the turntables. Let me set up my DJ set, get my laptop up, set up a camera, kind of like I'm doing, and start mixing. And so he mixed and he did DJing. He literally did an event called Club Quarantine. And wow, I don't think anyone expected it to hit the way it did. Like I said, I have an article. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but from my personal experience of attending it, what made it interesting is we didn't realistically see these people, but to be in a chat with Michelle Obama, Janet Jackson, Ellen, Will Smith, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, like all of these people, among other celebrities, were all in there just enjoying music. And it was to the point where, and let me put this on the table because I'm always talking about this. I am the big stickler for time usage, how long you're on your phone, how much you're texting, how much you're scrolling, all of that type of stuff. A lot of people are going to have high numbers for a couple of days because they may have been in a couple of quarantine parties or a couple of DJ sets with a live video playing in the background. And in my case, it introduced me back to my speaker again and made me understand music on a different level. And it's okay if your numbers are a little high this month or the last few weeks because of you attending those events. Because let's face it, like, who doesn't value a good DJ set at, in the state that we're in of just kind of, hey, you can't go anywhere, you can't do much movement, so work through this environment and make it work. And that's kind of what we've been doing. So as I have an article here from Variety that talks about how this became a sensation. And what's interesting, it's not in this article, but he's even looking at the possibility of doing and making an actual club called Club Quarantine. And if that could be a profitable way to get people to come check out your venue and, you put on good musical sets, I'm all for it. Before I read this article, I do want to share, because there were other DJs who I did get to see. Questlove, you get props from me from here on out, bro. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. He gave me an anthology that I wasn't even aware of. Now, if you don't understand from an anthology perspective, like from a musical perspective, it's almost like painting a timeline of a song being sampled and realizing how many other artists have sampled that song. And he broke down one last night from Bill Withers, which we're going to talk about near the end of the show. And just listening to the songs he was putting together, or just the breakdowns, I was like, okay, I got respect for him. So I listened to him. DJ Rayvon, I did check out. I did listen to DJ Moss, MOS. He played literally last night. I was just kind of working on some school stuff, and he put Money in the Middle on. That was it. I was like, all right, you got it. I'm done. I don't need, no Moss. I'm good. But he was doing his thing. But all of these DJs are coming out. Now I'm gonna talk about one thing before I get into this article. He just did get more artists to get creative and say, hey, let me see what your musical set was looking like, and let's kind of do like a battle of music. And I did enjoy hearing about different ones that were done. I didn't watch a single one because a lot of those artists or celebrities I personally do not follow, which it happens. But I mean, hey, as people were sharing links with me, I was, getting to whatever I could attend and participating, and it was fun. It was nice. DJ D-Nice Instagram Live virtual dance parties have been the sensation of isolation, drawing upwards of 150,000 viewers, among them both Democratic candidates Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, former Lady Michelle Obama, Drake, Oprah Winfrey. I forgot Oprah was there when I was in that 100K point. Will Smith, and even Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Mark was there because he owns Instagram. Don't say nothing. And helping relieve anxiety during this time of stress and uncertainty. The Bronx native, whose real name is Derek Jones, currently lives in Los Angeles and is, like all of the city residents, under a safer home mandate calling for a weeks-long quarantine. So last Friday, he took to the turntables. DJing and mixing for some 8 hours straight with barely a bathroom break. Under the banner, Homeschool at Club Quarantine, his sets featured an abundant mix of genres, from disco to funk to soul and hip hop. Jones got his start at age 15 with rap group Boogie Down Productions alongside KRS-One and DJ Scott LaRock. So I've been corrected. They did give that information. Shows what happens when you don't read your articles, Brian. Good job. After selling millions of records, putting out 2 successful solo albums, and helping Kid Rock get a deal and working on his first album, Jones decided to leave the music industry in 1993, telling Variety, "I just felt burnt out." Fast forward to 2020, and his audience has never been bigger or his presence more impactful. Just yesterday, legendary rapper Scarface, who tested positive for COVID-19, credited D-Nice's live IG for saving him. Currently counting 1.7 million followers on Instagram, the outpouring support and feedback has commended the DJ's cheerful spirit, positivity, and talents on the turntables. D-Nice spoke with Variety and revealed the one song he played twice for Rihanna. And then they go into this. I'm going to assume this was they're doing like an interview breakdown with him on different things. From this, we got a couple of playlists, which I am all for. Anyone that knows me and my Spotify love, this is going to be a brief but a productive tangent. I love a good playlist. And I didn't realize how much I love a good playlist until I created a couple of playlists on Spotify. I did a few backyard playlists, which those are going to be resurrected in the summer. I'm warning y'all now. I did do like a decade, like songs of the decade, my personal songs of the decade from 2010 to 2020 or 2019, if you want to be specific. And yeah, just listening to a lot of just music that I normally wouldn't listen to. I say all of that to say, from doing these DJ D-Nice sets, it generated different playlists on most of your major platforms: Apple, Spotify, Tidal. And I'm going to say this on my IGTV, and I want people who listen to music to understand this. A person who uses Apple Music versus a person that uses Spotify, you're both still getting music. So if one person looks at it as, or even the big dog Tidal, you're still getting music. You're still paying for a service. And a lot of times it's not even whether it's based on preference or liking or disliking. It's more so, can I access said songs and can I get a good set of music to get me through whatever's going on, whether it's dealing with quarantine, whether it's dealing with annoying people, whether you need to get into your noise canceling bag and just play something to just kind of rock out for a second. The last few weeks, I got blindly introduced to levels of noise, which this is a different topic, but we're going to talk about it anyway. White noise, pink noise, brown noise. Didn't realize there were different types of noises to kind of give you just that somber, subtle background noise. And it's almost like a spinoff from ASMR if you want to be technical. But I say all of that to say, we literally, and I know I've done that already, but getting these type of playlists and listening to this type of music gives you that good feel to just learn to value music for what it's worth. A coworker of mine, he had a stereo, like a computer stereo system that, I mean, you would think, okay, it's just 2 speakers and a subwoofer. It's not going to be that loud. I don't even, when I hook up my iPod to play on it, I can't put it but so loud because of how loud it gets. And that told me then that life comes full circle. And this is why I say that. A few years ago, a friend of mine had said, hey, you need help moving? Okay, cool. I got you. I'll help you move, get whatever you need to get. Stop listening.
Sorry.
Hey, Google, stop listening. I knew that was going to happen.
Playing right now.
Perfect. So, I go through my whole process, and normally I'd quiet that, but that was a mistake on my part. So, she getting stuff moved and happens to see a speaker. Some headphone. Well, I'm sorry, some two little speakers, and a subwoofer. Same process. And I had it at the time. And when I had it, I was like, yeah, this would be nice. And I could use it and set it up and do whatever. Never connected it. Never did anything with it. I think eventually, I don't want to say it was thrown away. I feel like I gave it to someone, or it was used in a manner where I was able to, went forward, but I didn't hold on to it. If I knew then what I know now, I probably would have had them. But I think this, for my setup and just the simplicity and the convenience, I'm cool. A down the pike idea that I'm probably going to end up doing is, which tech tip, if you are always, if you have that concern of getting something and you're looking at, I need something to fulfill I don't have a Bluetooth, or you have the infamous iPhone with no headphone jack, or even newer Galaxies without the headphone jack. They have Bluetooth adapters that you can plug in to the 3.5 millimeter aux plug, and it makes whatever that device is Bluetooth capable. And from there, you connect to it like you would any other device, and you go from there. So don't fret or don't feel frustrated if you don't get that option. But this all has taught me how important music has been to me. And let me be perfectly clear. I am a movie guy just like anybody else. Not really many movies that I've caught that will keep my attention like that. And I'm guilty as charged, but to each his own. I'm still trying to finish watching The Secret, but I also have the book, so it's kind of like mix and match. Tiger King has been funny to watch on Netflix, but it's kind of like push and pull. And that's just kind of been what it is. So, yeah, I just want to get into that brief spiel. It's just learning how important it is to really, if you have that chance and are able to do it, listen to music and get something good in your ear or get something good in your system, because it could get you through whatever is or isn't going on in your life or in your routine, and you can just kind of press forward, because we all are trying to do the same thing and press forward. And that's all I'm gonna say. And thinking of this, I'm hoping I can remember to share it as a passing message. So let me make this side note really briefly, because it's gonna be something to really think about. Our next article, which I still am shocked by, but I guess Amazon's thinking ahead because it's only April and they're looking to delay Amazon Prime Day. So, side note, and this is just general information, and most of you may already know this. Amazon values 4 days of the year. They value the other 365, or in this case, 366. But these 4 are the 4 that always will stick out. Christmas, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Amazon Prime Day. Amazon Prime Day is how they get a spike in Amazon Prime customers, as well as those who are already Amazon Prime customers, to utilize their platform and to purchase more items. Well, from last year's projections, they were able to sell 175 million items on Prime Members Day. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, they are going to be delaying this day. It's being postponed at least until August, according to a report. It's held in July. It is a 48-hour sale. It was considered as the largest shopping event in Amazon history, and it surpassed the previous Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. So just let that all sink in as far as like how spending occurs on what days, as well as how crazy shipping is going to be. Because when they do have it occur, shipping is going to be out of the world, as it already has been now. And I didn't talk about this. I didn't talk about this. So I'm getting stuff so I can make sure I remember everything I have. But literally, items have such a bigger delay on being shipped. Anything that you're ordering, be sure it's coming from the US. Just putting it out there, because if it's coming from overseas and it's got to go through customs, you're going to be waiting a while. You might not get it until Christmas. And I'm not being funny saying that. Also, what was I about to share? be sure if you're buying like your novelties like Lysol and just spray and things of that sort. Don't. Amazon had a sale, or they had it on sale for $115, which I'm still surprised by, but that's neither here nor there. Prime Day has attracted great attention worldwide after starting as a much smaller sale in 2015. Now hundreds of other retailers join in the summer sale, and consumers tend to delay their purchasing in anticipation of Prime Day. By delaying Prime Day this year, Amazon expects potentially a $100 million hit from excess devices it may now have to sell at a discount. Amazon did not give any comment regarding this. Customers have been flooding to Amazon's online stores as millions are asked to stay home to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Earlier this week, Amazon stopped selling some face masks, antibacterial wipes, and other hard-to-find healthcare products to the general public, saying it'll sell these items only to governments and health providers during the coronavirus pandemic. There are now, and they're giving more information. There are over 1 million confirmed cases, and there are more than 245, with more than 245,000 of them being in the U.S. Amazon did place on Thursday a new series of measures to protect their employees amid criticism for workers, advocacy groups, and lawmakers about the company's handling of the crisis. So that's money they're losing, but they're also, still looking at their main concern of being sure they have workers and are able to stay within code and all of those other factors. So we're definitely hoping they get this all under wraps and squared away. Before I get into our music sesh and also our pass of the week, since we don't have an ass of the week this week, because I could easily give ass of the week to personal crazy stuff, but we're not going to do that. We want to keep a good energy for this show. I'm going to bring everyone's attention to, and it's special. Hopefully you see this video if you get to this point. I may just send you the video at the 45-minute mark as a reminder, and I'll mark the show on my end so I can remember to tell you. But we are currently in the month of April. We're about 4 or 5 days in, depending on when you hear this show. And to say it without saying it, the first quarter of 2020 or 2020 kicked our behinds. To say it without saying it. I have become big on this as of July of last year. Hopefully by July of this year, I will have a different look about it, and I will definitely be speaking on it in an upcoming episode because it's important to note. But goal planning is big. Planning and preparing is important. Putting ideas on paper is helpful. And if you have not been doing so before, now is a good time to start. When we finish, when or if, or at whatever point this all dies down and becomes less of a chaotic moot point, you want to figure out what's next. You don't want to look at this and say, okay, that's done. Now I can go back to doing what I was already doing. When it's like, no, you want to be prepared so that in the event of something coming up, even if it's not to this magnitude, something hard comes in front of you, you're not just sitting there with the, oh, well, we're just going to work through it like we did last time. Instead of finding a way to reevaluate what was not done correctly then. Goal planning, preparing, managing tasks, all of that, it's very, very helpful, very important to do. Even after I finish this show, I have to sit and work on my second quarter goals, my second quarter plans. I looked at my 2020 goals board, and right now I'm just tunnel vision on July 24th as well as September 4th, because those are like 2 days that are big for me, because by September 4th, I am getting my Network Plus certification. I have to. And I know in order for me to do that, I've got to set goals to working towards doing that. Even something is small, and we don't do this enough now. Hopefully this occurring will awaken people to doing it more. Take time and read. Pick up a book. Pick up your Kindle. Pick up your iPad or whatever tablet you have. Download whatever reading app that you are using to read, the Nook app, whatever. Start reading. Like, we have to read and put things in our head that are going to help us. TV is, I don't know the stats personally, but I'm going to go on a limb in saying that TV watching is a little indifferent, as well as more people are Netflixing, more people are Disneying, more people are streaming, Huluing, etc. YouTube, and I'm watching YouTube more now than I have in a while. But in the midst of doing that, you want to set that time aside and just, like, we as humans get 24 hours. This is worldwide. It's not just, it's only in this country or in this place. We get that much time as a whole, and we don't use it. And we have to learn how to do it, myself included. Like, I'm not sitting here pointing the finger saying y'all need to do it, because the conversations that I'm having with you all, these are conversations that my friend Special has been having with me for the last couple of months. And when we first were doing it, I was kind of like, okay, whatever, sure. But now seeing this occur and just seeing how life has hit at the beginning of this year, it really is important to, like, sit down and put out your plans. The Bujo journal is the vibe. I am definitely bullet journaling, Chelsea Bujoing all day long. Go Blues. Can't watch Saga, so closest thing I got is to put the crest on the book and call it a day. Hopefully by August or September we can talk about soccer. Who knows? So I don't know if that half of the show is going to be cut, but I'm still going to be rocking with it. But I'm telling you all this to say, write out your goals, put out your plans, set up a blueprint. And if you do, it can help you to succeed towards better. That way you're not stagnant or complacent, and you're not forced to look, at only what you know. There's a lot out here. It's just a matter of you going for it. So I just want to give that tangent or that piece as another portion of the stuff realm. Music sesh. Woo. The Weeknd brought out a new album. Not a bad album so far. I listened to it once. I did enjoy it. Look to go back and listen to it again. Give it a little bit more of a spin. Party Next Door. Addicted. Sorry, just putting it out there. Like that album. Jhené Aiko's new album. Pretty good. A lot of people, I think, are blindsided by it because it's like a mixture. I don't think I talked about it at the time. And a matter of fact, I take that back. I did talk about it because I was talking about Meg and Jhené's album. If you know anyone and they listen to both albums, run. Like simultaneously. If you see that in some weird playlist, from a guy's perspective, just you catch it, whatever comes with it. And I'm saying it being funny, but I'm also saying it because it's a unique combination. I'll just leave it at that. Dua Lipa's new album, I actually kind of like it. I was surprised, but I'm impressed. Kiana Lede, she brought out a new album. I have been listening to her a little more often than normal. I remember, like I say this every time we talk about this on the podcast, getting into music from the streaming spectrum is very hard, but you gotta play what you can while you can because it's out there. So that's just my hot take on that. Joyner Lucas's new album. Yeah, I'm sold. I can't believe I missed. Where have I been? Why have I not been listening to him? But I did listen to his new album and I actually enjoy it. So check that out if you have not already. Drake brought out a new single. Drake showing us how to dance. That's all I'm gonna tell you. If you have not already listened to the single, listen to the single. But if you really want to get the fun feel of it, watch the video. And I'll just leave it at that. And finally, a friend of mine, she may want her name mentioned. I'm not going to mention it because I'm all about respect. But she did recommend an artist to me. And I always love when people give me good music to listen to. The artist's name is Kaiit, and that is Kaiit. Her last album came out in 2018, I believe. And it has some singles on there that you definitely, if you want something new or something different in your flair, definitely get out and listen. Y'all know for me always, D Nice, listen to his his playlist on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal, as well as lo-fi. Find your lo-fi mixes and let them rock and it'll get you through quite a bit. Pass of the week. This actually story broke yesterday on the 3rd, but it was he had passed, I believe, on the 30th, and that is Bill Withers. He was known for singing these songs: "Lean on Me," "Lovely Day," and "Ain't No Sunshine." Those are the 3 that stick out to me easily with him. He was 81 years old. He did pass from heart complications. I'm going to leave the article in the show notes. Not going to read too much into it because I don't want to, make it. Like a lot of people were heartbroken by it. And I looked at it on the flip side, like, my man made it 81. He did pretty good. So that's kind of the attitude that I'm carrying into it, or just my perspective or thoughts about his passing. Going into passing the message, my message I'm going to pass to everyone is, and I'm titling it, I wrote "Getting Through COVID," because let's face it, there are a lot of empaths who are having a hard time with this time of the year. There are a lot of extroverts who are having a hard time with this time of the year with this pandemic going on. Because a lot of us, yes, we may or may not like people. Some of us, I know for a fact, I feel like the bad guy because looking at one of my classes, I was excited that I didn't have to be in class with some people, and it shouldn't have been that way, but a lot of times it is what it is. And it was like, okay, cool. I could just work on stuff at home, relax a little bit more, not have to go through the whole process of driving as much. So little things like that I took into account. But on the opposite end, I thrive for people in a unique manner, such as I like being around people who are talking about something worthwhile. I like seeing people succeed just like people like to see me succeed. It's tough to see those things physically face to face when you have this all occur. So everyone's become creative. Zoom, Skype, 8x8, which I just got introduced to. Virginia bloggers, shout out to y'all. Like that meetup that night was great. Like I needed that. It was fun, especially being the only guy. So little things like that are ways to help you get through the COVID. And as I've told my roommate, Coco ain't taking us down. So if you are in that rough space, and it's even something as small as just taking the time and picking up the phone and saying hello, not just texting people all day long. Sometimes people really want to hear from somebody or actually get like that interaction because they don't have anybody else that they can talk to. And now with us being, really trying to fulfill social distancing, you got to be a little bit more creative. And it's okay it's okay to feel if you're afraid to feel right now. Like I talked with someone, I'm not giving any information or identity because it's me, but I asked them how they were doing and they were like, "I'm doing wellish." And I was like, if you're not doing okay, it's okay to say you're not doing okay. And that's the one thing I think this is the eye opener for a lot of people, myself included. So if those points are in existence or you feel those points, acknowledge it, accept it, get through it. But don't try to fool yourself into carrying yourself like, man, I'm good. I'm rocking through this joint, man. I'm holding it down. When deep down, you're not okay. It's okay to not be okay. That's called being human. And being human is what's going to get us far. So that's what I'm giving you all as a message to pass along. Acknowledge the feels and accept them. Don't just put them to the side, because the more you put it to the side, the more it could weigh down on you. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this episode. I can't lie to y'all. It's good to be back. I don't like doing quick 10-minute shows because I have a lot of stuff that I want to get into. I'm going to think and see if I may do the weekly shows. I might figure something out. It might be still on Saturdays. I don't know. Like after I get off work, just set up and get it popping. We'll see. So that's all I got. Until next time, this is The Pass signing out, and I am your host, BT. Y'all have a nice one. Really appreciate all the support, all the listens, all the likes, all the effort that goes into anyone who has provided any form of content for the past. We're signing out now, but you definitely don't want to miss what's in store for the upcoming episode. If you are interested in getting more information or becoming a podcaster, you can check out buzzsprout.com. And the microphone that you are hearing me use is the Blue Yeti X. I had been using a Yeti for a while. I went back to the Samson Meteor, but now I'm using the Blue Yeti X, which is everything. Trust me. All social medias, the Pass BT. That's THE Pass, as in pass the ball. BT is my initials. And finally, if you are a creator and you want to support a fellow creator, subscribe, like, and comment on the Pass. Until next time, this is your host BT signing out.